Welcome to SpiceCandies. Today I will show you how to make candied orange peels. To start, we'll need orange peels, obviously. In order to know how much sugar we will need to weigh the peels in advance. What we'll do is we'll put the peels like so, pointed this way, concave, upwards. Fill it with water and put a small glass on top to make sure they don't float. I'll do that in a minute. We will need to replace the water 2 to 3 times a day, preferably more. If you can do it more, that'll be better. You'll get more sweet and less bitter candies as a result. Don't overdo it. Don't do it more than 3 days because they'll start to rot. I'll see you in 3 days. Well, it's been 3 days and time really flies in YouTube land. And the peels have been thoroughly soaked. As you can see, they're nice and shiny, still in good condition, smell wonderful. Now it's time to cut them into strips and continue the process. We will need sugar, obviously. These are candies. We will need 1.3 times the original weight of the peels. If you don't have the original weight, you forgot it, you didn't weigh them, etc., what you do is you use 0.8 times the current weight, because the current weight is higher than the original weight, because in this time the peels have soaked up water and they're heavier. So let's start. I'll cut them off camera to slices and show you what we do next. Okay, so now we have slices and we need to add the sugar and cover it with water, and I'll show you that in a minute. One more important thing to know is that you could cut it to any shape and size you like. And this is a really fond memory from my own childhood. When I was in kindergarten, the kindergarten supervisor used to keep the peels. She used to give each of us a Coca-Cola bottle cap, and we used to use these to cut the peels. She would cook them and she would give us 2 each when we went home. And that was really a treat. This is the reason I chose to learn how to make these candies, because they're real fun. And once I made those, everybody in my house really got into it, got hooked. So every winter I have to make these. This is a must. Okay, so we had 170 gram, if my memory doesn't mislead me, of peels. We'll need 247 grams. I have 250 grams here of sugar. And we'll need some water, just to cover the peels. So let me do that off camera. I'm not covering all of it, just most of it, because remember the peels are full of water. They're fully soaked. And the water inside the peels will come out. So you'll see the water level rising. I'm using a medium burner on medium heat, and this will take roughly an hour. One more important note: every 10 minutes or so you need to make sure the peels are thoroughly mixed, because some peels are above the water level, some peels are below the water level, and you want to mix them thoroughly. Another critical point I forgot to mention is these peels float, so you can really fill the pot with water and you'll never see it's full. So don't overdo it. Make sure you have the right amount of water. Another important point is to use oranges that have a thick peel. If the peels are thin, that's also alright, you can use them. These are actually thin peels, but I prefer to use the thicker ones. They're more satisfactory. In my point of view, you can choose whatever you wish. And you can see it's starting to boil, so I'm lowering the temperature. Lowering the burner to a low to medium boil, and it's going to run like that till the very end. At this time point, we roughly have about 1/2 inch, 10 millimeter water level, which is syrup level actually. and I need to constantly, well, not constantly, but mix and stir the candies very often. And from this time point onwards, you have to watch the pot. This is the end. We're getting almost no syrup at the bottom. Hope you can see that. We'll just run it a bit longer. It will take roughly a minute or two from now till we reach the very final stage. We run out of syrup and we can stop the boil. But at this time we have to constantly stir and mix the candy. One more crucial point is that the peels are really hot. Between 120 to 130 degrees Celsius roughly. This is a really good recipe to get burnt, so make sure not to touch those. Another key sign that the candies are ready is you get the coating of the peel with some sugar on the side of the pot, so this is a good sign. So we're ready. Actually, while talking, we're run out of syrup and it's a good time to stop. I'm turning off the heat, but I'll have to keep on stirring it because I want the candies to dry a little bit more. Keeping those in the pot and letting them cool off a bit and still evaporate. And as the pot is still very hot, I still have to constantly stir those. Almost ready to pour. I'll just give it a minute or two. You can actually leave it just as is. If you're in a hurry, if you have to go somewhere, just leave it in the pot. It will harden a bit, it will stick a bit to the pot, but it's nothing you can't release and use. So don't worry about it. Just make sure you turn off the heat. I've set a plate with some parchment paper and we're ready to pour the candies. And that is it. They're ready. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you make this recipe. Please remember to subscribe, like, comment, try, and tell me how you did.